Hi everyone, I recently sat down with Attorney Alexis and I asked her some questions. The reason why I decided to interview her is because she is focusing specifically on women's rights and the law. So I thought it would be super neat to see things from her point of view. I asked her a few questions, and the first question that I asked her is, in your view, why is voting important? Word for word, she said, I think voting is one of the most important acts we can take to contribute to American democracy. It is also important to remember that voting was not always available to everyone in the United States. Voting gives us each a voice. Our vote represents our values, morals, and movements that are important to us. When I vote, I remember all of those who fought for me just so that I, others like me, and others not like me could be an active participant in democracy. I think voting represents our hopes and dreams for the future. It can represent a call for change, progress made, and possibilities for the future of our country. I think that this particular time has made me recognize the importance of voting even more because of the divide in our country. We have learned about the fights of the past and seen history be made through obtaining the right to vote, and I believe it is our responsibility to honor those fights by voting in every election. The next question I asked her was, what barriers to voting and being elected have women, in your experience, faced in today's society? She said, voter suppression is a serious issue that many voters still face today. In the most recent election, I also think it is interesting to note the divide between the number of women that voted for Joe Biden or Donald Trump based on race. It is important to know that there are different barriers for women of different races as well. 55% of white women voted for Donald Trump, while 91% of black women and 70% of Latina women voted for Joe Biden. There is evidence of tactics to suppress the votes of women of color, which shows me a pattern within a party, and I think voter suppression is unacceptable. Additionally, the historic nature of Kamala Harris being elected Vice President-elect cannot be understated. For the first time, we are seeing a woman vice president, a black vice president, a South Asian vice president. Harris has shattered a glass ceiling, but it shouldn't have taken this long. While we still have not seen a woman president, most of America rejoiced in the moment because it is historic. There is still far too few women in elected positions. The reasons for this are rooted in sexism, but there is hope in the possibility of change. I think that it is important to celebrate history being made, but then take steps to uproot sexism, systematic racism, homophobia, and bigotry in our country. The next question I asked was, how have some women used the vote as a tool for social change? She had said, Kamala Harris is a great example of this, and her speech highlighted this question so well. She was suffragette white and cited the many women who paved the way for her to achieve the vice presidency. Women have fought for the right to vote, fought for positions of leadership and a seat at the table, fought to have their voices heard, fought for causes close to them, and have come together to make their voices heard. It is very clear in this election, particularly, that the backbone of the Biden-Harris win was black women. I think there is great power in women coming together to advocate and fight for change. And the last question that I'd asked her was just a summarization, and I just wanted to know some more additional points. So I said, what additional points do you feel are important for us to consider as we commemorate the ratification of the 19th Amendment? She said, I think it is important to always highlight and remember incredible women that have contributed to the women's rights movement. People like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Michelle Obama, Rosa Parks, Susan B. Anthony, etc. have all pushed the needle closer to the ideals we are fighting for. The 19th Amendment was a great step in the right direction, but we still have farther to go in order to create an America filled with hope, equality, inclusion, and acceptance, rather than oppression, hate, and decisiveness. I really learned a lot from interviewing Attorney Alexis, and I'm so glad that I could share what I learned from her to you. Thank you.